Hey, welcome back to another episode of the Moto Marketing Podcast. I'm your host, Luke Nessler with Impakt Results. Each week we bring you a new guest in the moto industry. They might be an influencer, they might be an athlete, it might be one of the most iconic brands that the sport has to offer. We always tell the story of how are they getting the attention of the marketplace, what have they done to grow? What have they done to become the brand that we know them as today so that we can hopefully bring you some information that you learn from to maybe enhance your brand, or maybe you're an athlete looking to do a better job, or maybe you're like our guest today, just an average guy that loves to ride, has a day job, and wants to grow a YouTube following. That's the story of our guest today. Our guest is Daniel Olszewski, or many of you know him on YouTube as The Return of DEEO. I was very intrigued by this guest and wanted to have him on, reached out to him, turned out he was a fan of the podcast, and friend of guest of the show, Jeff Walker. So we made the contact, invited him on, and it was a great interview talking about how Daniel started creating video content, grew his YouTube following, and what opportunities has it given him today. As you listen to this, you're probably either an athlete, amateur or pro, or you're a decision maker or influencer at a moto brand. So I want you to look at this interview from a couple standpoints. If you're an athlete, look at the value that you could bring to your career. Look at what you're missing out on by not creating content to grow your brand, the sponsorship opportunities you're missing out on, etc. If you are a brand, I want you to pay attention to just how much exposure Daniel is getting, right? The Return of DEEO channel has 41,000 subscribers as of the time of this recording. And he is I'm not sure of what class he's in. I think he's a B class rider. Good rider, but he's not a pro, right? But he is your customer's rider. He's more relatable to somebody like me than an Eli Tomac, right? So you don't always have to have that pro that you're putting your sponsorship, quote unquote, behind. Somebody like Daniel on the Return of DEEO channel is reaching thousands and thousands and thousands of people every single week that can relate to him. So if he rocks Alpine Stars, guess what? Somebody just like him can relate to him, and maybe they're buying it because of that. So make sure you listen to this podcast kind of understanding the value that these types of people could bring you, right? Great show. If you have questions for our guest like Daniel, be sure to email me at questions@motomarketingpodcast.com. Also, you can follow me on Instagram at Luke Nessler, LUKENESLER, and ask questions of our guests on there as well. And then a quick announcement. We are in the final stages. I'm actually sitting in the new Moto Marketing Podcast studio. It's 1,000 square feet. We're going big, baby. Right? Go big or go home, and we are about to take this show as a video show as well. So some of you listen to this on YouTube, but it's just the Moto Marketing Podcast logo with the audio behind it. That will soon change. The goal is early March to start bringing you audio versions for iTunes and wherever else you listen to your podcast, but then also a video version so that you can see our guest. We've got our studio done. We're recording the audio podcast in it now, so look for that to make a pretty significant change as we bring you pretty revolutionary content on the RacerX YouTube channel. So without further ado, hey, let's get into the show and hear from our guest, The Return of DEEO, Daniel Olszewski.
Welcome to the Moto Marketing Podcast, presented by RacerX, the podcast for moto industry professionals, entrepreneurs, and riders. If you want to grow your brand and business in today's digital-first world, you have to know how to turn a stranger into a fan, turn a like into a customer. You have to know how to turn attention into dollars. This podcast is dedicated to keeping you in the know on real marketing tactics that work in the moto world so that you grow your business and help grow the sport. Get ready to learn from the very same marketing experts trusted by RacerX, Lucas Oil Pro Motocross, GNCC, and NBC Sports. They'll help you navigate the world of digital marketing for your moto brand. This is the Moto Marketing Podcast. Presented by RacerX.
All right, guys, welcome back to another episode of the Moto Marketing Podcast. As promised, we've got the return of DEEO, Daniel Olszewski. on the podcast with us today, somebody that I'm excited to introduce you to if you don't follow his content. He's got a very interesting thing going on the internet, an interesting story, and man, I'm excited to bring it to the listeners. So, DEEO, thanks for joining me, brother.
Absolutely. Thank you so much for having me on. I'm excited about this.
Yeah, man, I'm excited to have you on as well. So for those that maybe haven't watched your content yet, what is your YouTube channel consist of? Just kind of start at the ground level. What is it that we're watching with your content?
Yeah, absolutely. So these days, it's what I just consider moto vlogging, real life riding. I do what's called a day with DEEO, DEEO being my nickname. And it's just I take my GoPro and I go to the track. My dad films me and I make usually a 20 to 40 minute video out of it, just showing my whole day, getting ready to go to the track, heading to the track, of course, all the riding, and then just kind of the wrap up as we leave for the day.
I think you're a really good example, and I would even use the term role model for some of the pros, some business entrepreneur minded individuals that are in the moto community, because what you're doing is a prime example of getting the attention of the marketplace. It's just a matter of your business, your source of income is you've got a regular job. You work in the marketing space for another company, but I think what you've done, others can learn from, whether they're an athlete looking to get more exposure from their sponsors or whether they're a brand trying to figure out how in the heck do I get the attention of my potential buyer. And then you're also somebody that these brands can leverage. And we've kind of gone back and forth talking about how you're a real person that I can relate to. So, you talking about, an asterisk knee brace or, this part or that part, it's going to go a long way. Let's go back to the beginning. How did this start? I mean, what is your viewers and your subscriber count? What does that look like right now?
My subscribers are around 40,000. I don't feel too much into that simply because, like someone like PewDiePie with 100 million still isn't getting that many views. So 40,000 subscribers. My last 6 riding videos are averaging just around 10,000 views per video. So I'm pretty happy with those numbers. It fluctuates, time of year, the video you actually release. But yeah, 40K subs and 10K on video views, not too bad, if I say so myself.
No, it's definitely not too bad at all. I mean, it's impressive, and I think it's something that some people listening are like, how in the hell does he have 40,000? I'm trying to get 400 subscribers, and I've got a product and or a service, whatever. So I think that's the interesting thing that I want to get into. How on earth did we get it to 40,000 subs and 10,000 video views? Because I know it didn't just happen overnight. So did it happen on the first video? What did that transition look like from, hey, I'm going to start doing this, to holy crap, something's happening. I don't know what it is, but something's happening.
Yeah, it definitely was not on the first video. It was far from overnight. I think I've had this current channel for something like 7 or 8 years. So it's been a long time coming. Probably in the last maybe 3 or 4 years is really where I've gained a lot more viewership. It started slow, and you can look back at the first videos on my channel that still have 150 views or whatever. And it was just continuing to build it, trying to do at least a video every week and have a schedule set up where almost like I think of it as a TV show where people can come to my channel and they know on Monday they're going to see the video from the past weekend. So just having that consistency and always being there. And anytime I have photos, I try to post it on my Instagram. I try and post daily and just keep content flowing, keep people coming back and having a reason to look at my channel and my social media.
So consistency is one of the big things that I heard there. I mean, and you had used the right example, a TV show. There's a massive personal brand in the business space. His name's Grant Cardone, and some people listen to this might have heard who he is. He's a very successful person. One of the biggest things that he's done is we know when we can expect content from Grant Cardone. It's every single day at noon. He's putting some type of content out. Now, what he sells is he has real estate investing, he has sales training, but his content is what's getting the attention of his customers. So your audience can expect your content. Therefore, it's not a matter of, is it going to be there today and when's the next time I'm going to see it? It is harder to grow a YouTube channel when you're inconsistent. So consistency was the first thing. But how did that initial pop happen? Was it a matter of you using the right tags and just optimizing your videos? Do you have any idea, kind of thinking back from when your video views went from kind of mediocre to, oh wow, I got 1,000 or I got 2,000? Was there that shift that happened?
I don't think I have a specific time or example, but I did gain a huge following after working with Verb Moto Gamers, of course, Verb Moto, which is no longer around, but they used to have a video game channel, and I was directing that for a while. Oh, okay. And that pulled a lot of people to my channel. But at that time, I was making video game content and a riding video every now and then. And that's why it was initially called Real Life Riding, because it was separated from MX vs. ATV. So that brought a lot of people initially. And then it's just, how YouTube is just weird like that. You'll get one video that just clicks, and overnight it gets views and views and views. And then even if your next video has 1/10 of that, you've gained an audience off of that. So I don't have one specific example or one video that really popped it off. It's just how things will come up, especially like I'll do a kicker arena cross video and that could get 30,000 views. And then I do a riding video at Thunder Valley and it'll get 3,000. So you really never know where it's going to come from. And I can't pinpoint that to anywhere in the past. It's just been a slow and steady rise in viewership and subscribers.
That's good, because that's honestly, I was hoping that you didn't have that one thing, because I think that is the mistake that so many people make, or not mistake, the misconception they have is that there's going to be that secret sauce, whether it's blowing my business up. I'm going to go to this seminar. I'm going to learn that secret sauce. My business is going to turn into a multi-million-dollar company. It doesn't work like that. And it's the same thing with growing your following. It's not a matter of, I'm going to do this one thing, I'm going to put these hashtags in here, and man, it's going to blow up tomorrow. It is a matter of consistently having small leaps, small steps forward, learning, and then adjusting as you move forward. And then when you do get those opportunities to partner and to get more eyeballs and visibility on it, like you had mentioned with Verb, look for those opportunities and how you can do it. And now there's so many people out there that have followings like yourself, to where if a brand wants to partner with you or with Jeff Walker or with AJ Catanzaro or, the Intignap brother that's not racing anymore. I mean, there's these opportunities now that are available for brands, whether it's an individual or a company, to partner with folks like you that can help kind of jumpstart that. But it's not going to happen if somebody partners with you and then they don't post again for a month, because it goes back to your first point, which was that consistency. What's the most important aspect of keeping your content growing if you had to pick one? Would it be consistency, or is there something else that you've realized that, man, if I don't do this, I see a downtick in my engagement and my subscribers? Is there anything that's kind of stood out to you?
Honestly, I think it's just being genuine out there. I think you have to just stick to what you know and what you're doing. It's when you start to get off track of that people will start to see through the cracks. You can't go out there and fake it. You have to just be yourself. And people ask me, like, what can I do for my YouTube channel? What game should I play? What kind of video I should post? And you got to stick to what you enjoy. If you're doing something you're not enjoying, people are going to see it. You're going to be forcing it. It's not going to be good content anymore. So, of course, the content is king, I think, but you have to enjoy what you're doing and really just be yourself. I know, like Jeff was talking on the show a few weeks back, saying when he's dorky, people love that, and I try not to filter myself, and my dad, who's a character on my channel, it's just that's how he talks to me. We'll be talking about whatever. We'll be watching the Supercross, and he'll be all like, "Oh, that was so sweet," and it's just the way he talks, and all that just goes straight into the video. Where that's how we act, that's how we ride, and that's the relationship we have. And I think that's really what people like to see, is just that's DEEO, that's Daniel Olszewski that you're seeing there.
Man, I completely agree, and I think that's another thing that people try too hard to be that perfect on-camera character. And again, if somebody hasn't watched your content, which again on YouTube, it's the Return of DEEO, correct? Is that the YouTube channel?
Of DEEO.
The Return of DEEO. So go check that out and watch what Daniel is is talking about, because you're far from polished and like news reporter perfect in your content. You're you, and sometimes you ramble, sometimes you fumble and like just kind of cut yourself, but you don't edit this stuff out. It's real. It's as if I'm there having a conversation with you, which is not going to be perfect. So that's why I have resonated with your content so much. And I was telling you before we hit record, I'm watching it. My wife's like, why are you watching this guy and his family go through a Sonic drive-thru? Like, what? And she's over there watching The Bachelor, so she just doesn't understand. But I can relate to you, and it's almost like I feel like I've got this friend on the internet because you're so real. And that's something that riders need to learn and take from. And you had mentioned that Jeff Walker had mentioned it on the show as well. That's why people love him so much, because he is quirky. And in some clips, he had said it himself, the more dorky he is, the more he messes up, the more people like it, because it's not what we hate about the current pros. The annoying meme of a podium interview to where it is so polished, and yes, I'd like to thank my sponsors and this, that. We hate that because it's not real, it's not genuine. You are through and through real, genuine, if you mess up, whatever. And I really do think that's why people resonate with it. Would you agree with that?
Yeah, it's not faked. It's not, I'm on take 3 or 4 of this. It's, if I stumble over my intro, yeah, I'll cut that and redo it. But after I've been recording for a minute, if I start to mess up on my words, it's like, you know what, that's just how I talk sometimes. I'm sure it's happened in this podcast as well. And if you're talking to me at the track, that's what's happening. So it really is like, I know it's super cliche, but saying like, they're not my fans, they're my friends. And that's how I like to think of it, that I'm just having a conversation. When I'm talking to my GoPro, I can picture that it's, just my buddy Brandon standing in front of me, and I'm telling him exactly how practice went. And then that gets displayed to everyone on YouTube. It's not like I'm trying to speak to a mass audience. It's, we're just here together. And then it's really cool when I'll meet someone who's been watching my videos for years, and they're like, dude, I feel like I know you, you've never met me, but I know your whole life. I know your wife. I know your cat's name. I know, all this stuff. Yeah. And it's a trip for me, but it's just so exciting. And I love having that connection to the audience.
I think that is what, when somebody that is trying to figure this out for themselves, again, whether it's an athlete or something else, they need to look at. Did I lose you?
Nope, you're good.
Cool. They need to look at how they get pulled in themselves to the story. So, as we're recording this, you had just put out the Denver Kicker Arena Cross video, and you're having some knee problems, some pretty serious knee problems, and I'm so pulled into the story of that episode that when you're going around the track and I can hear you screaming in pain as you go over a single, I'm grimacing as if I'm there with you, because, and I caught myself because I'm like, man, I'm that invested in this funny YouTuber's video that I'm like, I can feel that pain. I don't get that from no offense to a Jason Anderson Rockstar video, to where it's just like bangers and whips, and it doesn't show me Jason, right? That's why I wanted to bring you on, because you've done such a great job of, if you're excited because you just passed a guy at the line, and you're in the B class or open moto, or if you're grimacing and screaming in pain, like I'm there with you way more than some of the fluff and fake BS that the pros are putting out. There's so much that people can learn from watching your content. It's I can't even put it in the words. It's something that you just have to consume it and see it. Did that come natural to you, or did you try to be that pro polished and you're like, dude, this just feels weird, I'm going to start doing my own thing? Or were you just kind of your own, normal self from the get-go?
Yeah, I think from the get-go, it's all just been my normal self. I mean, back at my parents' house, we have VHS tapes of my first ride on a PW50 and, just me on a bicycle out at my parents' house. And I don't know what started that, but my dad has always just had the camera and been filming. So that part just transitioned. And then me showing everything, that's what I want to see. Like when I go on YouTube and I watch someone, I don't care for just watching a GoPro. You know, it could be Adam Cincerillo just completely railing and winning a class, or someone battling back. It's exciting, sure, but it's not engaging to me. I like that personal connection. And yeah, when you're showing just the ups and downs of everything, it's like there really is a story to be told there. And that's what I aim for.
Do you watch any pro supercross, motocross racer vlogs like A-Ray? I know you watch Jeff Walker. You and him are pretty good friends. Have you seen the new A-Mart, the Troll Train vlogs? Have you seen any of those?
I have not watched those ones. I watched a few of the Cole Seeley ones, and I was watching Adams when he was doing them. And like you said, of course, Jeff, but I haven't checked out A-Rays or the Troll Train ones as of yet. Yeah,
I'd be curious to see what your thoughts are on that. And those are two others that I think are really good examples. If you're a rider listening to this, or if you're a brand, they're two other riders that do a really good job of being themselves. It's not fake, it's not polish. If they're having a good day, you see it. If they're having a bad day, you see it, and you see behind the scenes. So I think it's starting to catch on more, but there's so much missed opportunity that decision makers in a brand, like, I do it myself. I want people to know who I am. I want people to know who my CMO is and my business partner, because you're going to be working with us. If people hire us, they don't hire the logo, they hire the people. So if you're an executive or a business owner, what Daniel is doing with his show or his channel, you can replicate that yourself, because I don't want to buy from Roost MX. I want to buy from Christina Denny's brand, which is why I have spent a lot of money with her company in this past years, because I've seen enough of her personality from content, even though she doesn't put it out herself, to be like, you know what, that's who I want to do business with. So I think that's something that more entrepreneurs could do, more athletes 100% can capitalize on it. Has it opened any doors for you, whether it be, man, this is really cool, I'm getting some free content from this brand? Have you been introduced or met any Moto brands from your content that otherwise you're like, no, these people would have no idea who I am?
Yeah, 100%. It's really crazy. It's kind of like the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon or whatever, where everything is just so related. So when I was doing the video, like this is just one example, when I was doing the video game content, I met a friend named Miles who works for Frontier Lubricants, and they now sponsor me. But through Miles, I met Daniel Blair, because Daniel Blair used to work with Frontier Lubricants. So now I'm like in with Daniel Blair, and then he introduced me to Dave Ginolfi from Scott Motorsports, and now Scott Goggles hooks me up. So it's just building those connections and those networks, and that never would have happened before. And sometimes I'll get DMs from companies looking to, just send me some gear, send me some goggles, and just have me run it. So
how cool is that for you, being just a normal guy? Daniel's a skilled rider. If you haven't seen his content, like, you're good, but you're not going to qualify for the Thunder Valley Pro National. So how is it like a childhood dream to be like, Dad, these people want to work with me, like, I'm stoked?
Oh, absolutely, man. I get so giddy. Like, I'll see the notification on Instagram come up, or an email, and I won't even open it, because I'm like, I have so many butterflies in my stomach. And it happened with you. I don't think I replied to you for like 2 days, because I'm just like, no way. Like, so that stuff comes through, and I'll screenshot it, and I'll send it to my mom and dad. I'll send it to my wife, and I'm like, check this out. Like, they want me on this podcast, or look at this gear. They want to send me some sets of gear to wear. And it just blows my mind, man, because I never thought I'd be there. Like you said, I never chased the dream of going to Loretta's or being a pro. I've always been a weekend warrior. So to be in this position is almost overwhelming, but I'm very thankful for it.
Man, it's cool, and I can relate to that completely, because growing up as a super fan of this sport and building a successful business, but not being happy with the clients that we had, and saying, you know what, screw it. I care about moto and cycling. Those are the people I'm going to work with. And now the lineup of clients that we have, I still to this day text my dad and call him, and I'm like, Dad, I got a meeting with this person. Now, I've got to keep the fangirl inside me in check. Yep. But there's always, I know exactly what you're talking about. I've gotten messages from people listening to this podcast that are 19 years old asking me the same advice that I would have asked somebody when I was 19. So it is cool, and I think what's even more cool about this whole situation and what you've done is the fact that you have given yourself opportunities that if you had never picked the camera up, you'd still be a good rider, but nobody would know who the hell you are. And you have generated, for the sport, massive attention on yourself to where I think when you went down to New Mexico for the Moriarty video that you shot, I could tell there were kids coming up to you and giving you high fives that had never seen you in person but knew you from your channel. Like that's got to be a cool feeling.
It's amazing, man. And yeah, there's so much that's missed too, because I don't always have my dad there with a GoPro ready to record. So I'll just be riding off the track and people will say, "What's up, DEEO?" And I'll just turn and wave at them. And so much of that happens that you don't even get to see because, we're not going to fake it and recreate that. But yeah, just to go anywhere. Like I went to Utah for the Supercross. I went to Minnesota for the Supercross, and I'll meet people who are like, "Oh, I've been watching your video since I was in middle school," and they're in college now. And I'm like, really? I don't know. It's just so bizarre to meet people who know me through the internet. And like you said, just because I decided to pick up a camera and record, because if I was getting 10th place in 450B here in Colorado, no one would know my name,
Yeah. No, that's cool, man. And again, whether you're an aspiring YouTuber or somebody that you want to give yourself the opportunity like Daniel has given himself to where you're just an average guy, but you want to be able to give yourself a chance to do something in the sport, this is a really unique time to where, no, it's not going to be easy to grow a YouTube channel, and it's going to be probably twice as hard as doing it, now as when Daniel did it, because he's been doing it for so long. But the opportunity is there. If you're a pro and you're not doing this, look, it might not be your personality, and that's fine. But if you're a pro and you're not doing this, you are missing out on literally money as well as extending your career. If you're a brand, you're missing out on capturing the love and the attention of your customer base, right? Just because I bought from you once doesn't mean I'm going to buy from you again. You've got to keep my attention and turn that attention into revenue. And, people like Jeff and people like Daniel are doing a really, really stellar job of it. So, man, for those that have not checked out your content, where can we find you on YouTube? You've got an awesome Instagram account as well. Where can we find you on there?
Yeah, thank you. So YouTube, it's Return of DEEO. That's DEEO. And then my Instagram is just DEEO, DEEO. So follow along, and I'd love to have everyone along for the journey and checking out some videos.
And it took me like 3 episodes. I've been bringing Daniel up for the last few episodes to the people saying, hey, this would be a good example of somebody to partner with. It took me 3 or 4 episodes to get your dang name right. And the last time we had talked, to make sure that I had your last name, what was the example you gave me? Because I think it's hysterical, and I'll never forget it.
Yeah, it's Olszewski. So as long as you just think of an old chef skiing and you just jam that all together super quick, Olszewski, you're good to go.
That's awesome, man. Well, man, it's a pleasure. I'm going to continue to check out your content, and before we hop off here, I'll hit stop and we'll talk. I might be able to make it out to something, whether it's Thunder Valley. There's somebody that we work with, so we'll definitely link up here in the future. And again, man, if somebody has not checked out your content, I can't urge them enough to do it. There's a lot they can learn from, and it's enjoyable, man. It is literally like, as a busy CEO of a business, it's my way of just not thinking. It's like I'm out there riding. I'm not thinking about anything. I'm just enjoying the content. So if that's what you're into, check it out, because the return of DEEO's content is gold. So I appreciate you being on today.
I truly appreciate the kind words, Luke. Thank you very much.
All right, brother.
Thank you for listening to the Moto Marketing Podcast. If your goal is to get real, measurable results from your marketing that will grow your company revenue, then check out how Impakt Media can get the same results that they have for Moto's most iconic brands by visiting thinkimpak.com. That's ThinkImpakt.com. Have a marketing question that you want answered on the show? Send your questions to questions@motomarketingpodcast.com. Don't forget to rate, review, and subscribe to the podcast. And we'll catch you on the next episode of the Moto Marketing Podcast.